In this video, we're going to be discussing volume of cones. So here they first want us to label the height and radius or diameter of each cone. So looking here at this cone, to start off with, we're going to go ahead and identify the base. Now, the base of a cone will always be a circle. That's going to be my base. Now, on my base, your base will tell you if it is a radius or a diameter. And for instance, here, since this line goes all the way across our base, this lets us know that this is a diameter. Now, the height of your cone is going to be from the peak of your cone to the center of your base. This is known as the height. Now, let's go ahead and move on to our next cone. So on this cone, again, I'm going to go ahead and identify our base. After identifying our base, looking at the base, I need to determine, do they give me a radius or a diameter? Well, on this base, this line only goes halfway, so this is a radius. Now, the height of your cone is from the center of your base to the peak of your cone. This is known as your height. Now, looking at this cone, again, after identifying your base, again, which is always going to be a circle, I see that this is referencing going all the way across our cone, all the way across our base. So this is known as the diameter. Now, again, the height of your cone is from the peak of your cone to the center of your base. This would be the height. Now, looking at this net, the cone of this cone, we first want to draw in the height and radius of this cone. So after identifying my base, again, which is always going to be a circle, we're going to go ahead and identify the radius. So the radius would mean that it would only go halfway on this circle. This would be the radius. And currently we cannot identify our base, the height of our cone, but if we were to fold this cone, the height of this cone would be from the peak of our cone to the center of our base, which would be at about right here. This would be our height. Now, looking at the ice cream cone, they want us to draw in the height and diameter. So this ice cream cone is sitting, or the ice cream is sitting on a cone, and its base is a circle, which would look like this. Now your diameter goes all the way across your base. So this would be your diameter. Okay. Now the height of your cone, again, is from the peak of your cone to the center of your base. This would be your height. Now looking at your traffic cone, we want to draw in the height and diameter of this. So again, this traffic cone, its base is going to be a circle. After identifying your base, we're going to go ahead and draw in our diameter. Remember, our diameter goes all the way across our base. So this would be the diameter. And then the height of our cone, again, would be from the peak of our cone to the center of our base. This would be the height. Now, looking at this party hat, again, I want to identify my base, which is going to be the circle. And this wants us to identify the diameter. So again, the diameter goes all the way across our circle, all the way across our base. This is the diameter. Now the height of your cone is from the peak of your cone to the center of your base. So this is the height of our cone. So now that we have that established, let's go ahead and look at the next page, which we're now going to see our first example. We're going to find the volume of this cone. So first, let's go ahead and identify our base, which again is going to be this circle. And the shape of our base is, again, a circle. And we want to know, what is the formula for big B? Now remember that big B stands for the area of our base. So we're going to go ahead and open up our formula chart, and the area for area of a circle is going to be area equals pi times r squared. So here the formula for big B is area equals pi times r squared. So first, let's go ahead and list our dimensions. So first we need to see, do they give us the radius? Well, here on this cone, I see that this line only goes halfway. So 3 is going to be the radius of my cone. Now the height of my cone is going to be from the peak of my cone to the center of my base. So here my height is going to equal 6. So now let's go ahead and find the area for this circle. So here I have pi times my radius, which is 3 squared. So going into your calculator, let's go ahead and type this in. Pi times 3 squared is going to equal 28.2743. We're going to go ahead and round this to the tens place. So I'm going to look at this 7, and since it's larger than 5, this is going to round the 2. So round the 2 up. So this is going to be 28.3. The area of my base is 28.3. Now taking this, I'm going to plug this into the formula for volume of a cone, which is volume equals 1/3 times the area of my base times the height of my cone. So this becomes 1/3 times 28.3 times the height of your cone, which is 6. So now in your calculator, you're going to type Control, divide, 1 on top, 3 on the bottom, times 28.3 times 6. Press enter, we get 56.6. So here the volume for this cone is going to equal 56.6 inches cubed. And then I'm going to box in my answer. Okay. Let's look at the next cone. So here, this cup is halfway full. We want to find the volume of the water. So we're only finding the volume of the water in the cup. Now, one thing I would like to mention, looking at this cone, you're given this 5 inches. Now, this is known as the slant height, and you do not want to use the slant height. You want to make sure that you're using the height of your cone. If you use the slant height, you're going to get a wrong answer. Now, the height of this cone is here. And here it gives us our radius. It tells us that our radius equals 3. And the height of our cone is going to be from the center of our base to the peak of our cone, which is 6 inches. Now again, the shape of our base, the shape of the area, or the shape of the base of a cone is a circle. And we want to know, what is the formula for area of a circle? So going to our formula chart, the formula for area of a circle is area equals pi times r squared. So here, it's going to be pi times r squared. So now we're going to find the area for this circle, which will be pi times 3 squared. So going to our calculator, we take pi times 3 squared. Enter, we get 28.2743. Now again, we want to round this to the tens place, so I'm going to look at this 7, and this is going to round the 2 up to a 3. So here the area of my base is 28.3. Now I'm going to substitute this into my formula, which is volume equals 1/3 times the area of my base times my height. And again, you can find this on your formula chart. Formula for volume of a cone is V equals 1/3 times big B times little h. So here we have 1/3 times 28.3 times the height of my cone, which is 6. So now going to our calculator, we're going to type Control, divide. 1 on top, 3 on the bottom, times 28.3 times 6. And we get 56.6. But again, this is only halfway full. So we have to divide this by 2. So 56.6 divided by 2, we get 28.3. So the volume of the water in this cup is 28.3 inches cubed. Let's go ahead and look at our next example. So for this example, they want us to find the volume of this cone. Now, let's go ahead and identify the base of our cone, which again is going to be a circle. So the shape of our base is a circle. Now we want, what is the formula for area of our base? Now again, looking at our formula chart, the formula for area of a circle is pi times r squared. Now I need to list my dimensions. So I need to find out what is the radius of my cone. So here my radius should only go halfway on my base. This goes all the way across. So this is actually my diameter. My diameter equals 10. And to find my radius, I'm going to divide this by 2, which would equal 5. So here my radius equals 5. Now the height of your cone is from the center of your base to the peak of your cone. So here your height is going to be 12. Now, again, as I mentioned before, 13 is your slant height. You do not want to use it. But if you were given your slant height and you were given your radius, the way you would be able to find your height would be to use the Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to go ahead and find the area of our base. So we're going to take pi times the radius, which is 5 squared. So we have pi times 5 squared. And that equals 78.53. Now, again, we're going to go ahead and round this to the tens place. So this will be 78.5. Now we're going to go ahead and plug this into our formula, which again is volume equals 1/3 times the area of our base, which is 78.5, times the height of our cone, which is 12. So now going to your calculator, again, we're going to hit Control Divide. 1 on the top, 3 on the bottom, times 78.5 times 12 will give you 314. So the volume here is going to be 314. Our unit is centimeters cubed. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the last example. So for the last example, we have a net. And first we want to go ahead and identify the base. Now the base of this net is going to be this circle. So the shape of our base is a circle. And again, we want to know what is the formula for big B, which again is the area of our base. Going to our formula chart, the formula for area of a circle is pi times r squared. So here, pi times r squared. Now I need to identify my dimensions. So here I see that this line goes all the way across. So I know this is my diameter. So I need to divide this by 2 and I get my radius equals 6. So my radius equals 6. Now I need to find the height of my cone. Now again, this would be an example of a slant height. Your height will again always be from the peak of your cone to the center of your base, which would be 8. So now let's find the area of our base, which would be pi times the radius of my base, which is 6 squared. So going to our calculators, we take pi times 6 squared, and we get 113.09, which is going to round to 113.1. So now we take the area of our base, plug it into our formula. So we have 1/3 times 113.1 times the height of our cone, which is 8. So going into our calculator, we're going to take Control Divide. 1 on top, 3 on the bottom, times 113.1 times 8, and we get 301.6. So the volume for this cone is 301.6 centimeters cubed. And that is how you find the volume of a cone.